Barbie's gonna be a coming-of-age movie. Maybe Simu Liu is playing another Ken. Because it's gonna be about her leaving a guy who's treating her awfully and her meeting somebody that treats her right. If my theory's right, I have bragging rights to something, I don't know.
So that Barbie experience taught me a lot. Look, this idea I was getting a lot at work and I kept thinking about it a lot, but in reality, there's a ton of these stories coming out. There's always movies being made in development, post-development, pre-development, and some of them get made, some of them don't get made. That's just the name of the game. So then, what other story is there? What can I tell? Well, there's the story on Deadline that came out that The Weeknd is making a movie with Trey Edward Schultz and Jenna Ortega. And also Barry Keoghan, but... Now, there's no real news on what the story is going to be about, so that's really what I'm here to talk about. Look, again, Barry Keoghan, I like his work. He's a cool guy, but there's nothing for me to grasp on here. He's good. He's what you need in a movie. Now, if IMDb's to be trusted, this is a very interesting story. Alright, there's a lot of fans in the story, a lot of police in the story, and if this IMDb is to be trusted, Charli D'Amelio is also in here. Now, this decision is not very outside the box for The Weeknd. Last time he put in Jenny Kim, and she's not an actress, but she worked in the story. I know everybody likes hating on Charli D'Amelio, but this isn't such a horrible idea. And now for the person who's in the thumbnail, Jenna Ortega. Now, everybody cannot have enough of Jenna Ortega, especially in my Instagram feed. But I think she's interesting because she does have that attention that I don't even think The Weeknd can create. She's also a pretty good collaborator. Let's not forget, in Wednesday, she was able to look at the script and give her own opinions and also say what worked for her character or not. I think that's going to be interesting while I talk about The Weeknd's projects, because I know we'll talk about this later, but The Idol wasn't that well received. He's a director that does a ton of movies that are very down to earth. You feel like you're there. They're very sensory. And because of that, you feel all the emotions the characters are feeling. It makes you very engaged in the story. But if I were to put a theme to all these movies, I would say it's family, not the ones that you choose, but the ones that you're stuck with. They also usually end up in tragedy. This guy also knows how to use the aspect ratio just to make you feel claustrophobic or sometimes free. I mean, for him, it's just language of how he decides to put it together. He is really probably the most authentic director in Hollywood right now. But I think the most important thing why The Weeknd wants him here is because how he incorporates music into his stories. Now, The Weeknd's already dabbed in cinema, technically. He's made a TV show. If you guys know, The Idol, it was his first thing that he's done in this medium, and everybody hated it because it's very graphic and it depicts things that we don't want to see ever. So that's one reason. He had a director on board who filmed the entire show and then scrapped it and started all over again with the guy who made Euphoria, who's known for just making headlines. He also made this with his inexperienced friend, whose only credit is being a bouncer at a strip club. What I'm saying is he's probably not that experienced in storytelling. It was really cool to see him platform other artists I had no idea about. I think those are going to be my rotation from now on because of this show. But if you only know The Weeknd's work because of this show, then I think you're missing the big picture. Trilogy, Kissland, Starboy, After Hours, Dawn FM. This guy knows storytelling. His first story is not about good people. It's actually about a very bad person who gets into relationships just so he can survive. He's manipulative, he does drugs, he's depressed. And it's good music. Kissland is about fear and how he's like being on tour is like being in a scary movie. Starboy is about his reluctance to get into committed relationships, but at the end of the day, he does learn that he can do it. And then After Hours, the one that made him the biggest musician of all time. The never-ending cycle of tragedy and bad decisions that he keeps making. And his latest album, Dawn FM, is about breaking out of that cycle and finding forgiveness within yourself. This guy does know storytelling. And he's great at it in music, but in cinema, it's a little different. He does need practice. So then, what are my predictions? In this movie, Jenna Ortega and The Weeknd are gonna have... I believe this because of her interview for one of her movies where she says The Weeknd made her feel instantly comfortable. Do you know who else said that? Margot Robbie when talking about Wolf of Wall Street. Does that definitively mean that's the case? No, it could just be that she feels in and over her head, but when she meets him, she feels comfortable, which also gives me hope that they have good collaboration. But I'm still banking on. Jenna Ortega also posted about a rundown house. Now, what other rundown houses do we know in The Weeknd's filmography?
Okay, editor's note. This is actually supposed to allude to House of Balloons. I think it's just like a reference to his past.
Also, if you look at the cast list, these all look like characters that would only be in one place, a concert, which makes me think this story takes place in one night. Look, The Weeknd's biggest collaborator in these movies is a bouncer, so maybe this story is about The Weeknd being a bouncer and Jenna Ortega being the star. Yes, it's kind of the same thing what he did with Idol, but I feel like this might be better because of the direction of Edward Schultz. He's more held back than Sam Levinson. He's just being authentic in his storytelling. I think he can make this work. This movie's already been shot. This trailer could literally come out anytime now. This movie could come out this year, but I'm glad that at least when I post this, y'all haven't seen it yet. So this might be the first time you've ever heard of it. All in all, guys, follow my socials, and I'll see you guys later.